It seems to me that there's a paradox in the fact that there are now so many new writers, so many writing courses, and yet the ability to actually be published or to read new writers is in a sense limited. I mean, I'm not sure what your experience as editors of your particular journals is of that situation.
Well, I think it's a problem that we do seem to be in a culture where everyone is encouraged to be a writer, and that's great. But there's also an expectation that when people have such easy access to self-publishing online and in other forms as well, that it means that there is a huge mass of writing out there. There are huge numbers of people submitting their work, desperately trying for the same small number of spots for publication, and I think it is our role as editors to curate that mass and to try and find those new voices that really do have something to say, because there's a lot of noise out there.
The internet is this massive change in the means of production, perhaps the third industrial revolution, happening quicker than the other two. But the contradictions are enormous. I think there's a spectator culture going on where a lot of people don't want to pay for things, and I could go with that. I think the online product should have a price. And this celebrity culture, am I wrong? But everybody wants to be famous, not next year, but tomorrow afternoon. So there's a kind of impatience. Now, in that process, the magazines are being swamped with material, and it's very difficult for people to sift through that material. But in saying that, I think the cream rises to the top, and some of the new people that are being published in a range of publications, say like Josephine Rowe, that's an example of the cream rising to the top. But in saying that, there needs to be, I think, new forums. We won't call them literary magazines at the moment, but new forums for these people to get some notice and to get some feedback from readers. And the hard task is to find readers in this country.
But I mean, that's where the role of editors and librarians is so important, because it's a curatorial role. It's a role where you can help people find the cream that you're talking about. And that's so crucial. It's crucial for everyone involved. It's crucial that local readers do see that there is great Australian writing, and that it isn't, that there's different kinds of Australian writing, and that there's writing that they will be interested in. Because I think there is also a perception that Australian writing is one particular kind of thing, and it's a kind of thing that a lot of people don't have any. I
don't know where that perception came from, because the 1970s and the 80s deconstructed the whole notion of that Australian writing was Banjo Patterson and Henry Lawson and Gumtrees and Bushrangers. The new Australian, quote-unquote, Australian writing is multicultural in so many respects, and look at all the different writers that have been published. I think people are still carrying on the old notion for certain reasons. I don't know what those reasons are. I could go on about that, actually. They're still going on with that. Australian writing is not limited. It's as varied as the country, and it just needs to be given a chance. I'm going to put up a proposition. I was thinking on the plane this morning coming here today, this utopian proposition that we have to start saying to ourselves that these kinds of things, Meanjin and Wet Ink and Overland and One Thing and Another, don't necessarily have to be minority publications. Now, okay, the facts are that not many people read them, but the mind frame is then, in so many other responses, that they are going to be minority publications, which I think is preventing us from thinking outside the frame in a variety of different ways. Thousands of people read them. The circulation of this is 3,000. It's passed on to 3 or 4 other people. There's 15,000 copies. We don't get that money back. Online, well, that's almost exponential, but very hard to measure in some senses. So there is a kind of populist thing going on here. These things aren't necessarily for, quote-unquote, an elite. I reject that notion entirely.
Yeah, me too. And I think that the more writing there is, I think there is more hunger for writing and for good writing now than I think it just grows and grows. I think there is such demand for high quality local writing that if you show people where they can find it, they'll beat the door down to get it. I think it is something that people really want, and there is huge potential for it to be a populist publishing thing. It's
like Henry Lawson was all those years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.